Mayamba Kurumjari Adom Yangbiriba say Impact News ni. Impact talk to Manipur, connect with people you serve, Thoramasi Bumiding Tabiri Bamayam Puno Hanamakada, Kanel Shambanduram na Taram Nokchuri. Nasi Sumiam Gidamakayam special about guest Amaka Equina, Kogi Studio Sida Puduna Luxury. Ado Kogi guest Siamiam Sakta drink I say Kogi video Matek Amakang Hani Minasi Amasung Masigi video say Yang of Matung the Nasigi Kogi am special about guest see Kanano have the Mayam guest of Wangam view.
Kanano aisibu imana hai aise minambani oidabani aigi thamoina hai isorna semlapa mitamni aisibu kanano nangna hai aisu mioibani madudi aisu khangi adu wahan thok leitraba thawaira aisibu kanano mahausa lairembina soina semlapa khudola natragana mairi pubanong haura kanano aisibu nang nahai aisi angau bini madudi aisu khangi makhoi nahai pangda bini isana ya jai masisu adubu kana gumbagi nungshibara aise natragana tattana khongau binaraba punshira aisi bukanano.
Well, you guessed it right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome Santa Khurai. And in this episode, we are going to celebrate her newly released book, The Yellow Sparrow. So here we have Santa Khurai. Welcome to the show, Santa. Masung akogi Impact TV da akogi speak to biba sige damak tayam sunung ay. So first of all, a very happy New Year and congratulations for The Yellow Sparrow.
Same to you.
Yanong ay. Ado han ba koina hagdok chaboy na ko. The Yellow Sparrow have say husik mayam na loina makagnar ba dugumba book amakak ne have tar. But siyam na spoil to the vida have tar ko. Akogi Yellow Sparrow se kadino have say si hanam tang have you.
Yellow Sparrow, Sendrang Hangama Pal Haidise, Tasing Badi Sigise narrative poems are more in Ibaneba, incident Amakak the BS Tauraga, other than Aina Semzaba, fictional character Amakakne, Karigumba Sparrow, Marak the Hangama Palma Chugi, Yaura Patarati, Karam Haina, entire Sparrow family na Nasagi, different Oeniba. Hangama pal senrang do karmane treat tawgadagi haina aini incident amakakta base tawraga aina aigi punsiga relate tawraga same ki ba aigi fictional character amaneba aduga sigi lyrics the Yellow Sparrow sigi magi hairiba section amakak excerpt amakak lawthog aduna prologue ohelaga kainona aigi main stories aigi memos mayam sina continue tawrapanida aduga Yellow Sparrow hai sidi yauriba prologue sina loiba nateba. It's a very long stories of that particular Yellow Sparrow and the journey, the difficulties, ups and downs in life of that particular Yellow Sparrow.
Taza matam does have the introductions from the author herself. Taza matam de dress is okay Yellow Sparrow gi like matching matam. But to be honest, Chisanta ina som yengzel matam da pav matam da. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Yellow Sparrow was written in Manipuri, but it was translated in English by Rubani Yungkai. Ado akogi isagi on dialect da Manipuri da when the Yellow Sparrows when release tawg da bida have taraga akogi why do you have to choose English to express your thoughts, your feeling as in this novel The Yellow Sparrow?
The manuscript is still there in Manipuri. Manipuri the lady aduga problem si kay no have matamda Yellow Sparrow si aina yamna khanganing ise akoi gi Manipur gi oiba context ta ibaneba aduduna sigi story si di akoi Manipur matong dang confine ta haning da ba aduga mapan da akoi gi Manipur gi transgender yam tongan ba socio-cultural context se even the native identity se aina wari se prithvi gi mafam khudi mukta lining ba aduduna aina ahan ba da adu attempt and fortunately I've got a very big a very big publisher, the Speaking Tiger. Moina su yamna pam na phongbi bado. Aduga mafam matam ne. Aduna sina language ki kari gi harapatara de ina sigi wari sidi transgender to the center tawrga I da baneba. Manipur gi laiba 1990s aina class 10 karakpadagi nga sibawta laiba Manipur gi political scenario, political environment. Aina mafam chatlu bada Manipur gi mafam da aina aigi Santa Khurai do thi bada thengnarakpa matam dugi oiba tongan but deaths and events all have been recorded in these books. So adugi duna CD yamna historical oiba pot amakhak neba Santa Khurai ji thirakpa matam da I see yam nai tom ta ba mi ne ba. I haven't always very unfit in the society, in the family, in the community. Adu iduna ai si kanano thirak pa matam da itom da ta ba da ai na ai thi ba da theng na rak pa mayam do adu dai do da lan yaw re I then army yaw re I tongan ba mo ongi how the society and also people belongs to different walk of life, how they have treated Santa Khurai at that point of time. So all those records are very important incident of my life that mold to build today's Santa. Adu ginida, adu iduna aina what is Manipur the confined towning the baso. Sigi what is I wish these stories travel across the world.
Yes, I'm very sure this story is going to travel across the world because after I have read this book, I know the very word unfit, I have a word to Chishantana used to it doesn't process properly inside my mind because the word unfit is synonyms with the yellow sparrow. So I just want to use the yellow sparrow as a word of unfit. See magne hai tare see yellow sparrow sigi magi value magi qualities hai tare ko. Yam nungai se. Chishanta I know makata nong khangjaning the yellow sparrow a memoir of a transgender woman and when I read about this book, when I read the first explanations of the book, it tells me that you take 7 years to complete this book. From starting from editing the Horakan, the Yanhana column, Taba Hogi, the yellow sparrow had the Masik Mangal line at the minor Pokpida Iba, the Gumba, Lyrics avatar, 7 years Kumachang avatar. So 7 years after all these struggles, Sigi Marakta, as an activist, you have been traveling around the world, educating the people about the queer communities and stuff like that. At the minor 7 years, it Changna, Sumainta Horakan, the evil or Matung, the finally Mana Pokcharakumatam avatar. How do you feel? Tell us about the experience, that the feelings that you felt when this book was born.
I don't know, like what fails to express the way I feel when I first witnessed the cover of my book when it was shared with me by the publisher. I feel like that was the most peaceful moment in my life. Aina thazadabdo I struggle awaba mayamdo adukan the Santa Kanano habese I basina thamamba ngamame ko do it's not about Santa ginataba akogi nupi manbi singi or transgender singi yamna mapung of historical account thamjarambangambado aina which I feel like I'm leaving a legacy to the coming generation of Manipur people and also to the transgender community of Manipur. Adugiduna aina dumaina feel tawi adu ayam haraw bahai se wasi haraw bugi pangkhai leita bahai bedo adumaina oibe. And the other thing is akoi trans marakta gi the author guys ham tang heba
exactly
adugo notice gi the aina han ban India gi akoi mari manga khak leibada you know I sumanunga chalaga dumaina I gi memoirs maka puthorok pangambase I feel like it's good.
This is a milestone have the
very big
hecta ngamba kan milestone na te have ta Chesanta na has achieved the amount of recognitions, the amount of love that you have received after you published this book. It's quite a milestone. Chesanta aina makata nam khangzeng matam of course queer community dagi de have tare moina pav matam da makogi life ka yam related oi ba dugumba kaino makak like amakak oi ga doine have tare but this book is going wild ai imana mayam singna so ai imana vi mayam singna so when I share this book on my status kai de legi kamduna book fair de yaw work kaina ha ko mayam su yaw ba but sigi matang se aina haning ba se like it's so amazing that people who doesn't belong to the queer communities are also very excited about this book and they want to know more about the queer community. Rosigi matang sida from the author perspective ta aina mu khangjaning base kogi queer community nataba community mi sing sida gi have tare mogi reaction se comment tawi mogi reviews na comment tor kan da sigi like sigi matang da pire have adig matang da sa have
I am phaba phangba review hangi and yam nungsi base I do I ne hing base time yam sinning ameba I always wanted to die. I think this place is an impossible place for a person like me to live, to survive. But I realize, it's not a realization, but what makes me livable at this in this place habase aina khalakpada adugumba mayam macha mina di yam pick na khalam ne ba aigidi it's a very big thing for me it's nang lari to kai da phange congratulations and you know adugumba mayam do feedback adudagidi moina paruraba mi singnaga Amazon daga pirakpa review se yam phaja na pire eba aduga ai na dum haize ba critic layras dum critic taw biro ona kai gi noindi ai gi lyrics di critic tawraga adade adugi critic to gi response khanaraga nainaraga lyrics adum aina lively oina lehanning baneba adum hingaga lehanning eba once somebody read the book and then you give it in the selves to not eba I just want people to go through it thoroughly then bring out critics from there and then discuss it in the society because it's not about the trans people only it's about Manipur how peoples belongs to different identity peoples of different social cultural political position survive in this very conflicted state adugi yamna chaw mayek ama yauriba so I wish people read it very carefully, very thoroughly, and then come up with their own perspective, share feedbacks, critique, so that we can at least keep this book alive forever.
Gam nungai je sigi matang sida je santa aina mu hangjaning bese je santa no sik pan bir inga the aina su mind some strike the wider you mentioned that this book is about Manipur ado ai gi oina so ai personally aina paza matam da you know I have witnessed a lot of geographical narratives I have witnessed a lot of cultural narratives also you mentioned about Nupamanbi Nupimanbi and then you mentioned about Nupamaibi and stuff like that there are many cultural narratives that we need to study at the same time aina yamna striking way give us the geographical narratives well this book starts from I think 1980s somewhere 1980s when you are just a 16 years old teenager adagi haura ganda aina sum yengo matam sida spoiler khara di talkjarage numai da in order to make my words full koina imagi mapam daga chatpa matam da you know tongan ba kongpan gi mafam sing turen mapam gi mafam sing yengba the structure of a pandukan aduguma mayam aduna macha mayam kha gyauri ba the geographical location of Khurai in particular aduguma mayam kha gyauri haitar so chesanta na hozik akoi gi the yellow sparrows akoi gi manipur gi maram de iba adugumba lyric ne hairabani na ko chesanta akoi gi sigi lyrics akoina academically akoina researcher ama kak na haitar certain time scale ama kak study tong na bagi damakta like 19 adu dagina adu sibaw bagi damakta certain time scale am kak study tong na bagi damakta ma se you know literary sourceamo ina have of research adu ina use to ba ya ne na khanbra sigi wakhalon de igibra kamai ni igibna ti matam have you
I get the fact ni dana achumba kano sidi anecdotal evidence to base to banateba sidi ai gi mit na u kiba aina hak theng na kiba pot ngak ta ne ba to budabu aina matam to dagi nga sibak to oire iba sahi lisang sit pasida Manipur gida la iba ahongba mayam trans asigi ahongba sida transgender yausal aga transgender gi life impact sama pirak pase adugumba mayam do na maram oira kanda akoi gi academic sing na suyam line study ta bu ya ba like sigi beauty parlor gi beauty parlor horok gi wari beauty parlor ka mai hori then beauty parlor na yam success oi gi bagi what was the reason behind it like koi gi Hindi film thing ki ba Manipuri digital movie na yam na kanna mushrooming taw khalak pa adu de gi di matam mangi Khurai da karamai na lairami transgender na ina rakpa matam du gi mi sing du gi world view akoi na khangba ngamgani matam du gi mioi sing gi magi mindset akoi na at least study taw bangam mi dana adu gi awon ba ahong ba sing do transgender na yellow sparrow pa ba matam da Manipur gi maphang khara di khangne for example polo ground you know 1990s ke polo ground da akoi na aman ba gallery du da catwalk sat panung dang da adai kangla da army sing na lairing gi matam adai di kangla dai kap thorak ba folk light to gi mangan da akoi na hanga anda chat pa then you know adai di akoi na matam da Imphal sohor se transgender singi di when sundown it was like a paradise for us akoi gi dilai ri ba ka chap man when sundown numi hekta ki baga adai di numi taringe tadringe matam da heterosexual people singi moi gi domain ne ba numi hekta ki ba akoi gi ne ba like yamna uchi macha yamna pauna baza da gi amung som da chien ba da mai ko chi la sana doina ba so it was a very beautiful history of community mobilization which no one can deny if somebody reads the book adubu iram da batara di adugi narrative sing do it's going to be annihilated forever so I think this will gives a very good insights to the academics also. If wanted to do a research on transgender study tauba har Google the tauraga nataba somebody if really wanted to look for a primary data, then yellow sparrow definitely it can use as a first-hand account to start doing the groundwork.
ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯔꯤꯁꯔꯆ ꯇꯧꯖꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯟꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯁꯤቭ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯑꯦꯛꯁꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯁꯤቭ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯁꯤꯗꯅꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯔꯤꯁꯔꯆ ꯇꯧꯖꯔꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯗꯦꯟ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗꯁꯨ transgender plays a very important role in making the policy also right now, since the queer communities is fighting for this one also, and they are being successful ꯁꯤ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯀꯟꯅ ꯑꯣꯏꯈꯠꯂꯛꯑꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ. ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ inclusive and exclusive policyꯗꯁꯨ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯁꯤꯅꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯇꯦꯡ ꯄꯥꯡꯒꯅꯤ ꯈꯜꯂꯦ. Personally for me, in order to understand the community, I am relying mostly on the yellow sparrow ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ, to know the past history about how the transgender have started in Manipur. aduna yam nungaise sigidamaktasu amu hana thank you haizage, like from the journalistic perspective and researcher perspective ta ko yam nungaise ado sigi matang sa khoina matang khangjening basida ko jesanta khoina sigi lyric sigi manung se habli tongan ba chapter me am gak sa chapter loina mak loin nungai haiba tar ko ai gi hoina ja matam but ai hoina su ai gi personal favorite su leise amasu author gi hoina di haiba tar ko karamba part se sina quite gi striking way karamba part sina quite gi favorite way have the matang du haibi
ai gi hoina di Sigis, every sentence, every word is beautiful for me. And me punamakna yamamuta na pahaningi. Every sentence, every word, it carries a lot of stories. Sentence amana wari yam pu baneba. Kaigino haiba matamda sigi section jina hena phazai shine hena kaino ta we have a pot laiteba. Yellow sparrow entire stories here you'll find very sensational and also painful at the same time. Adumai tau bane sigi wari sidi aduna kana gumba mna wari si para pum tan section am mangki matam danya ngasai gi keno do mangonda adu manghan ning da bagi interest ma adum lai ne ba adugumba am lai aduga sidi aina sigi sections in quite the pahaning habit the late. I wanted the readers to go through book thoroughly and don't miss a single sentence, a single word, because it carries a lot of meaning and stories itself.
Yeah, no, I say the sigi karamba parts in the quite favorite way gi have today could viewers me on the mokona park and like I'm not going to spoil the yellow sparrow. I don't dare to spoil the yellow sparrow. I don't I see the viewers me under them thumbs guy. Say Santa Warisham no marak tatna break matekam tang no winase break ki matang da che santa ga nungai wari ga loina impact talk to Manipur hanjarake impact news po mijing ta dran review
Langshin biro Pena departmental store Sagolban Mabudaw Mantri Laikai Salam Awang Laikai Shanghai Tel Road Miyam gidamak pangbigani tongan ba items sing grocery cosmetics cookeries household appliances furniture sing afaba makal ki products sing washing machine fridge mattress namade laitengi oiba makal kaya gi items sing ataba mamal da heavy discount pijari loan gi khudong chaba su pijari
Akari
washing machine lam teng jage
yari apam budum yengbiu
now for the labor
koi choi di offer thong wai chai ra jani
daw gi this the labor tv sing this the medium oi size ni jage to bane
makhal kuding loi phangani da koi me jo hapna pijari bo offer shi koi 45% phogo dum offer leigin sigi side by side ki free jim lo bo matam jana koi sigi double bo jai sigi mo free da happy
yam phare ne
Imphal Heart Institute na experience lairaba full-time cardiac doctor staff sing anova facility kayaga loina na open heart surgery angioplasty chamnga hena maipak na laying jakre khangauda na thabak na ba gyan mangba kokngau ba oninglabadi thintha dana chana ba laying hobiu choose Imphal Heart Institute for total heart care.
break ki matung da mayam taram nok chede che santa ga khoi wari makha ta jage santa khoi gi yellow sparrow gi matang da nungai ba wari me am ka break ki mamang da suits minus sana big right da aina nga sai so hijack ki do che santa khoi gi imanabi mayam gi marak ta so aina status ka thamba matam na kai da gi lai dino kai da fange da gi ai gi keno je why gi kot ki du mayam ka slai da so people are very curious about the yellow sparrow nowadays, and it has taken over many parts of the internet also, not only in Manipur, in different parts of the world. Ado hazik author masamuk tai ꯈꯪꯖꯍꯧꯒꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯌꯥꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯗ ꯐꯪꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯨꯁꯨ ꯑꯝꯇꯪ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯤꯔꯣ
ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯁꯤ ꯑꯅꯝꯕꯅ ꯕꯨꯛ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯣꯔ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯃꯆꯥꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯆꯧꯕꯗꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯂꯩꯔꯕꯅꯦ ꯗꯦꯜꯂꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯕꯤగ్ ꯁꯤꯇꯤꯁꯤꯡꯗ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ ꯆꯦꯟꯅꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯗꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯤꯇꯔꯦꯁꯤ ꯐꯦꯁꯇꯤꯚꯦꯜ ꯑꯃ ꯇꯧꯒꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯁꯨ ꯇꯧꯔꯅꯤ ꯀꯣꯜꯀꯇꯥꯗꯁꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯃꯣꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯛꯇꯤꯚꯤꯇꯤꯁꯤ ꯈꯔ ꯋꯥꯠꯂꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯗꯤ ꯑꯦꯃꯥꯖꯣꯟꯗ ꯐꯪꯉꯦ ꯀꯤꯟꯗꯜꯗ ꯐꯪꯒꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯅꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ ꯀꯅꯥꯒꯨꯝꯕꯅ ꯑꯦꯃꯥꯖꯣꯟꯗꯣ ꯑꯟꯗꯦꯂꯤꯚꯔ ꯇꯧꯋꯦꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄ ꯇꯥꯔꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯁ꯭ꯄꯤꯀꯤꯡ ꯇꯥꯏꯒꯔꯒꯤ ꯋꯦꯕꯁꯥꯏꯠꯇ ꯆꯪꯉꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯂꯩꯕꯤꯕ ꯌꯥꯅꯤ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯗꯁꯨ ꯏꯀꯨꯏ ꯀꯨꯏꯗꯕꯤꯗ ꯑꯩ ꯕꯨꯛ ꯂꯣꯟꯆ ꯇꯧꯖꯒꯅꯤ ꯑꯅꯤꯔꯛ ꯃꯐꯝ ꯑꯅꯤꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ if anybody wanted to buy a copy of this yellow sparrow then people can come
ꯑꯗꯣ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯕꯨꯛ ꯂꯣꯟꯆ ꯇꯧꯕꯒꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯗꯦꯠꯀꯨꯝꯕ ꯐꯤꯛꯁꯀ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯂꯩꯇꯥꯔꯗꯤ ꯌꯨ ꯅꯣ ꯁꯣ ꯗꯦꯠ ꯄꯤꯄꯜ ꯀꯦꯟ ꯒꯦꯠ ꯑ ꯀꯣꯄꯤ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯌꯦꯜꯂꯣ ꯁ꯭ꯄꯦꯔꯣ ꯏꯟ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔ ꯏꯠꯁꯦꯜꯐ ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯗ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯣꯏꯅꯣ ꯗꯦꯠ ꯀꯌꯥꯃꯨꯛꯀꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯕꯤꯔꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯋꯤ
ꯗꯦꯠꯁꯦ ꯂꯩꯇ꯭ꯔꯤ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯄꯕ꯭ꯂꯤꯁꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯋꯥꯔꯤ ꯁꯥꯗ꯭ꯔꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯣꯏꯅꯗꯤ ꯇꯧꯔꯣꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯕꯠ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯗꯤ ꯌꯨ ꯅꯣ ꯁꯣꯁꯤꯌꯦꯜ ꯃꯦꯗꯤꯌా ꯑꯥꯏ ꯑꯦꯝ ꯚꯦꯔꯤ ꯑꯦꯛꯇꯤꯚ ꯑꯣꯟ ꯏꯟꯁꯇꯥ ꯐꯦꯁꯕꯨꯛ ꯇ꯭ꯋꯤꯇꯔ
Exactly.
so people can access the information from there
ꯌꯥꯝ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯖꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤꯁꯨ ꯆꯥꯟꯁ ꯑꯃꯈꯛ ꯄꯤꯕꯤꯕꯒꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯖꯩ ꯋꯥꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯃꯈꯥ ꯇꯥꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯌꯦꯜꯂꯣ ꯁ꯭ꯄꯦꯔꯣ ꯋꯤꯠ ꯔꯤꯐꯔꯦꯟꯁ ꯇꯨ ꯌꯦꯜꯂꯣ ꯁ꯭ꯄꯦꯔꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯆꯦꯁꯥꯟꯇꯥꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯈꯪꯖꯅꯤꯡꯕꯁꯦ ꯆꯦꯁꯥꯟꯇꯥ ꯅꯣꯋꯤꯡꯂꯤ ꯑꯣꯔ ꯑꯟꯅꯣꯋꯤꯡꯂꯤ ꯕꯦꯛ ꯏꯟ 1980sꯗꯒꯤ 1990s ꯐꯥꯎꯕꯗ ꯌꯨ ꯍꯦভ ꯕꯤꯟ an activist speaking about the transgender community in Manipur. Sigi chahi matang sagi horakanda ngasi phawbada sumai lak matam so of course like tadi loinamak yaurabane adubu sigi chahi matang sidagi 1980s 1990s tagina hozik phawbu 2023 24 sumai lak matam sida kari transgender community sigi manung sida haiba tare ko kari changes me amaka ubi ge habda adugi matang dos kitang haibiu
community marakta change se yam tawe visible yam henkale adai sendal lambi am leire lairik tambagi chang hanthai lairik ti akhoi gi matam dan hena tam certificate pai base transgenders like Jenny hoi akhoi gi matam se at least be about the loi tam nai ba matam da hujik sina class 10 phau pass to 12 for pass to TBI but these people they have enough amount of money in their bank account so see mazukitan critical when yeng ba madar kai tai what is the reason behind this for me education is also equally important with economic justice aina admaina khali economy ga kaino ga sisu magi knowledge chigi submina bam da khatai dana aduna money is power when you don't have your wisdom then how do you execute the power this is a very big question when people misuse the power it can leads to a certain level of antisocial activities adumba trans ki community na taba koina we have witnessed a lot of that kind of things happens in every corner of every nook and corner of the world adugumba masu laibanina adiduna aduma ure adudagidi community gi marakta visibility di yam hele and awareness hele community marakta awareness am hele and I'm very glad that my peoples have aware a lot of things like they are now bit political when compared with all those time like 1980s 1990s communities yang political oide now people are at least aware of certain things and they have their own voice they can stand on their own feet asigi da makta de anyam harau
yam nungai je have the sigi samne important oi che sanda na hojik takpi matam da education gi matang da aina sum khalle ba have the yamna nori ngai dagi hora kan da mokhi tong antongan ba senda lambiam ka pura kan da kadai dei no mokhi education se have the how are they balancing their work life and the magi academic life to kamaina balance oi no have this is a chobo question ma kakne do hojik ai answer su phangba male sigi su yamna critically yengba matam ma khak ta ko su yamna kiningai oi have that to be very honest ko have the without education hozikan gi matam sida di have the kayam hoba chatpangam boni when you when you have the power of a money kai ba ko chatpangam gani have a question am kaksu yam kana lai have that so I think education is equally important as that of the work life have that yam nungai je sinda makhata na makoina khangjaning matam da as a part of my research, I joined one of the lecture series given by one of a very eminent person in our state, Manipur. So we were discussing about film because I'm a student of mass communication, and film has been one of my area of study hai bata ana koina hozik present day films me ham se sum nai na matam da one of my colleague hai bata one of the research scholar mana question ha ko matam da koina manipuri films je hozik yengba matam da yengura kanda habidi hozik se mani mamogi kai gi sas bahu ke adugumba ise mayam taw with na manipuri films da so mayan taw matam sida koi gi isam sam na leijaramba imung du su hai bata manem duna manipuri film do consume tawra matam da koi media da su koi theory am leid na magic bullet theory kind of my level consume tawra kanda manem duna mamong do kano tawra po do chingnarak pa adugum to mayam gak thoi ba adu main taw mana du question hang matam da koi intellectual or person do na yam phasna budi khumge adu aina sigi the yellow sparrow se pa ba matang oi gi ba kanda adu lecture du da aina ai gi sa gi ba narration da hai tar yeng ko matam da na hawai da gi hongna koi gi kano sida sigi kano se transgender communities akhoi gi media da portray tawrak pa matam sida haiba tare akhoi na hawai ai gi ethics na panba ya daga there are certain shows which people like in Manipur that portrays ka hai tare the transgender community something a matter of laughter adagi moi da habidi yamna nokning ba pot ama ka koina mai na ugi mayam gi dillen bam gumba ama gumba oi gi ba like the community itself is koina portray to matam je koina yamna kyani nok na pot am khatang oi bado humor khatang oi na uba haidar deeper down kashu one gi bad ana sigi smaina sigi matang sida koina media na sigi community se portray to bugi matang se hojik se dum taw dum te dum tawri ne ba hojik khitang nokning boy ta de am taw dum tawri ne sigi matang sida like from an activist point of view the kadi I think my question is very
it's okay very interesting sida the idea wahang oina hangning eba why can't we exist in public without the threat of being attacked abuses and why people are very comfortable to see me and people like me in a platform like this in Lai Harauba, in Thabal Chongba, in beauty parlor and also in movie as a comic character because this is an illusion, social illusion, and we have been marketed in this whole ideas of man and women, which is very binary. If a man be very manly or masculine, or a woman very feminine, so this is the things that we have been taught and we have been seeing for the throughout of our life. So when a person like me come out in a woman dress, then people stared at me, giggled at me, laughed at me, asking me, you are a man, why do you wear women's clothing? And my response to that is, this is my clothes. So this is the illusion that the society has created for certain section of peoples, and it reflected to media, in every art forms, even in education. So there is a very systematic discrimination that happens, that take place within this format. Okay, and aduna maram oira kanda ngasai gi thogla iba poto moina uriba this whole ideas of transgender karino se. And these are the spaces where cisgender heterosexual peoples dominated, and they are privileged people, and they can do whatever they want. They have the power, but we do not have. We are the minority section of people. Adugiduna moigi idea, moigi imagination of society, imagination of trans, how they wanted to position trans, how they wanted to position trans in the society have a more own imagination do adugi the visual oina phagi oina puthora aga ai khoi si moigi use as a tools of earning money, use as a tools to earn their name and fame. Adumak na reality na tiba. For example, I'll tell you one thing. Ako ye ubu matam da mina lak na matam da sayang ka tau bune ba. Hisabi kai sa lui no kai tau dro. No, I don't act like that. I gi trans community adu mai tau deba. Sayang khol ka paksa sa tro. Ako gi keno na tiba do. Adugi do society na trans oi bata di ka mai tau gada gi ha never forget about this media. Let's talk about the regular experiences that I've encountered in my life. I ni hek auto tong ba matam da nang parlor kai da lagi. When I go out in the public, people, when the moment people saw me, they will asking this question directly to me. Where is your parlor? So trans oira the parlor, trans oira the HIV, trans oira the nupa na koi biraga mayum da nupi oina pusan bayada ba. Adumaina adum narratives adumai sagar laga given in throughout the whole this era. See that the I koina adudagi mo thola pada di matam sange ba. So it's rooted. So we need a lot of conversation. We need a lot of awareness. So me sing na su khang ba madal ka tai ba. Within this binary man and women, in between this man and women, there is possibility of the existence of diverse gender and sexuality identity, which people actually need to explore. But the issues is people do not want to explore. People do not want to experience freedom. We are free. We are free people. Transgender are free people. That's why people doesn't want to see us free. We are very free. Trans people are free. When you compare with cisgender heterosexual people, transgender people are free bird, like a free bird. We are not bound with anybody's, we are not under anybody's control. We don't allow anybody's to control us. For example, marriage. Yeah, I am not speaking against marriage, but the concept itself is a very strange concept if you relate it to the trans experience. Okay? So there are things that we, for me, I always wanted to talk about this. I wanted to discuss about this subject. The only thing is like we have a very limited spaces, safe space where we would gather people, calling people, do a very good convening, sharing thoughts and opinions from different peoples coming from different walk of life. We don't have that space in Manipur.
When I think adubu yellow sparrows in safong la matam sida have a people are more aware about the transgender community, more aware about the queer community. I think in Manipur there are in my experiences there are some people who doesn't know what queer communities are also. But that's the beginning of the conversation I thought. Other than queer community ki matang da so koina sige the yellow sparrows in have it's a very big gift from the Santa Khurai where we can study about this community haita yanu ngai che Santa makata na maina khangjaning basida akoina che Santa gisu before the yellow sparrows a pokting ai matams da you are more into poetry, you are more into writing poems and stuff like that. Asigisu poem gisu magi tongan ba kano lai haita the world that belongs to us and the anthology of queer poetry from South Asia sigi like yamna fazagiba adugumba like amakakni sida che Santa gi like poem ani khag yaugi my father and nupi manbi haidna adagi thabal haidna asigi poems ki matang da so haibiro aduiduga akoina akoigi Southeast Asian countries singna akoigi tongan mi mayam Southeast Asian country ge international gi audience mayam na si paba matam sida why do you specifically choose nupi manbi instead of the word transgender haida and how did they react to this word?
Nupi manbi, it's very important for me. Nupi manbi plays a very crucial role in my activism journey, and my indigeneity is an important marker to my transness. People question my geographical location, people question my racial identity. I am a subject of multidimensional, Adugiduna nupi manbi plays a very important roles in my journey. Aduna nga sangi aigi wari kudimata mai te lo nam nyao bani. Aigi keno my father does a paizom nam sizina bani. Paizom sigima gi paizom sinapuri but what is it masculine story mayam say my father how I had conflict with my father and my father ended up his life burning in the common crematorium ground where men and women both consigned to burn. Like the man was so much, into this masculine thing. He even when he died, he did not have any choice. He did not have any option. So he was burned in the common crematorium ground. That was the end of that poetry. And the second thing is about the Nupi Manbi Thabal. It's very beautiful poem, and I wish people read that also. It tells very beautiful stories, heartbreaking stories, and then blood-curdling stories of transgender celebration, their social organization. Yamna nungairurukanda halakanda akhoi kanano hangbo wahangsingdo ahingi. Tumtharakpa matamda yamna kiruraga chatluraga thabal halakanda koka monge samnabada akhoi hingi se kaigino na hangaga tumkhiba mayamdugi saireng ama khagneba nupi manbi thabal se. And thabal se aina battlefield amu aina puthueba. Kaigino haidi nupi nupai thabal da di pau namba kaidu oidedana. You know, in our thabals it was like a warfield. Everybody were aduda loy bak changakpado sorokta mi chatabay mong ubado nupasu nupi so ai question se then adu thabal du chonga kanda di nupi gi thabal da di noiso nupi thabal da di kieraga chatra adu manupana yam paibidra akhoi thabal da di nupana paibideba akhoi masen ngakta chongeba but akhoi gina thabal chonge desu atopa general community haitare moina tawriba adumaina tawbagi hall keno da akhoi na tawbaneba aduiduna aina lan phama moina uiba nupi manbigi thabal se. Then what happens is like thabal manung sida nakan sida nupa ahumari yu yaw ngawba nupa ahumari na transgender amam puthoki doineba adu use phun thaktoineba. So it was like wrestling, you know. Yu ngawba nupa singdoga akhoiga lainariba numitugi oiba interaction. Then adugumba mayam adugi nupi manbi thabal se yam phajabani adaide akhoi marakta su amo everywhere there is a heterosexual people's control over us. Thabal da su mi si pi phajadaba setpa su yawe trans mayamda ado akhoi yengi mayam singsina khuba khuraga harauna yeng biroba okay fine. Thabal chongba so paibira anoba that's also fine. Judge tawrakanoba moina judge tawdoineba asina kaideno asidilawai malika no physiat as adu no, it's not their rights. It's our celebration. Akoina akoigi pride ne ado. We are celebrating our community. We are celebrating for being different. We are celebrating that moment, our sisterhood. Okay, then who are they to judge us? Who is beauty, who is ugly, who is good looking, who is bad looking? Aduguma mayam to never nupi man be thabals.
Yeah, no, I say, Sigi Matangs Dina, I wrote with the question, I'm going to Sigi Nupiman Bithaval, Gimatangs. At first instant, when you talk about this Nupiman Bithaval, you talk about, the self asking questions, who I am. Sigi Matangs Dina, Pushanjara Kanda, social oceans of Voina Avatariko. Who is Santa Khurai to you?
Santa Khurai is a very powerful woman, but Akaiba Mingshen Gumbani, Machet Kaiba Mingshen, Samzinaraga. Lem hoba karapak na lem hoba mingsiana maninga sipa minsinangena mangda. One piece of me was a little cute boy Sarachandra, a brilliant student who lost his childhood. Ani suba piece sina Sarachandra school da mayamarak da tinba phangak taba college da ining tam na college ka ba phangak taba mana nupi malubagi. Ahum subada Aigna aigi ming si kangdring the samas na homo na tonbi kiba mioyama. Then Marisu bada ai si kanano hai batira pomatam the Santa Khurai has a po organ Santa Khurai na labor pisama. Santa Khurai or padagi become more powerful and a person who has a lot of integrity, a person who is very compassionate, a person who is very dedicated, a very self-true person. Who never copy anybody, who never lie, a very kind and empath person, Santa Khurai. Aduga aroi badana Santa Khurai, she is a coward, powerless Manipuri native who can't voice against injustice that is happening in Manipur. A coward, a timid Manipuri native who can't voice against injustice that's happening across Manipur. to all the ethnic community.
And I hope we saw you, Santa Khurai as a goddess, or Adnasusigi Santa Khurai, through many platforms that you have shared throughout the world. Have that adugi damakta so koina impact TV mai kai degi, so more power to you, Santa Khurai, the goddess of Manipur. Adugina hena su mai pakpiro haizage ko aduga loshilak pasida khogi anoba chahina lak pasida so wish you tawzage a very happy new year che Santa Khurai aduga handaki chahisna lakko matam sida kari di am telapna ko kari di experience to we hoge have that do something have you
Lai phung bagi haraure ani sub matam da aina khange aina mi se realize tawre mi sing se moina mahum phar ba matam da na moi people change connection change their priority change everything change adukan di karmai tawge have matam da you know whether matam amanda aingonda aina tumina like ba matam the person who used to text me call me every day why you are stay silent and the person who used to visit my house today this person doesn't have 5 minutes to talk with me so his priority change adu maina aina learn to me say magi fulfill oirakanda you being treated like a garbage that's true in 2000 big lesson from me aduga whether you accept it or not life goes on and happy 2014 2024 sorry so you're hopping both the ways.
Yeah, thank you so much Chisanta for sparing only a very few time with us, and then we learn a lot about the queer communities through all your works that you have been doing, and we encourage you to please continue doing this. Aduna akoina zu hena awareness oijaba ngamba adagi akoigi tongan ba different works so loinmaksina ba ngamjaba habatari. You have been doing a very big contributions for us also. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank my friend Jerita for allowing me to borrow her book. Mango magi through the gina havatari the Yellow Sparrows.
Jerita yamusi bane.
Khangzeri se. So Jerita, thank you so much for this book if you're watching this show. And mayam bushu haningai late na thagat chering asigi amna special loiba Santa Khurai ga mahaki anoba ladik book launch khogi the Yellow Sparrow habase koina phong bagi celebration tawina bas da khogi Impact TV ga puni yawina bagi damakta yamna thagat cheri mathangi episode ta Impact Talk to Manipur na anoba personality ama puduna anoba wari kya ga loina miyam gi damakta amu hanjarakige Impact News bu mijing tadro debut.
On your first start anniversary,